go straight into the hands-on segment, but one of the things I would just like to point out is when we are building a complete infographic, let me give an example. This is a complete story from the Lagos State Housing Survey. Now, the point I want to emphasize over the next 1 minute is that they are composed of several smaller stories. So while we design, we build each individual portion separately. Then at the end of our design, we get to assemble each of them and connect them in interesting ways. So each of the story points we have highlighted during our storyboarding session, we're going to build them separately. Then get to assemble them, and add visual metaphors to them. Okay, so there are a couple of tools we'll be working with in Adobe Illustrator. Obviously, we all have it open. I don't know if we've been able to open a new page. Is there anyone who hasn't gotten to that stage? No, open a blank page.
That's the A4.
Yeah, an A4 page. You have a blank page open. Oh. We all have that on our screen. Cool. Okay, so our first story point from our storyboarding session is that we have 14 ministries that were mandated to prepare their MTSS documents. So we're going to take this story point. I guess you guys already have it in your Google sheet. The document is being shared to your email address, so you can check your email address. This document is there.
Which one?
This particular document.
Is it our Google?
No, it's still.
Okay. One said it was
So anybody who has received this so far can forward it to the rest people before it gets to them.
Not
That's
the
crazy.
Yeah. No, the story points from our session. So, but while we're waiting for everybody to get this particular document, let me introduce you to the interface. So basically, this is your. We have a lot of tools by the left side of our document. Okay, they are for several purposes, but 3 of them we'll be working with very often are your direct selection tool, your direct selection tool, and your selection tool. So those are 2 valid tools we'll be using to select different objects we'll be working with. Another tool we'll have to work with is our text tool. Okay, for us to align our text and correctly position the text. So to do that, you come to the letter T here. You click on it and hold your mouse down. So you click on T and hold your mouse down, and it brings up this drop-down menu. Now, when you look at the menu, it has several options. A lot of times, when we're creating just basic texts in sentences, we will want to use the type tool, which is this tool here. So you have to select that. So I will select mine here. Then I will click on an empty portion of my screen, and then I drag.
Mine is giving me error.
Give me Lorem Ipsus.
That is in Latin.
Okay, so if we've created our text box, let's go ahead to copy the text we want to represent. And in this case, this is my text here. I'll copy it. I'm using my normal Ctrl+C from the Google Docs. And I come into my text box I just created, and then I paste it. So I select all using Ctrl+A. While my cursor is inside the box I created, I select all, Ctrl+A. Then with Ctrl+V, I paste in the new text. Have we done that?
What part is this when I'm opening this document in Google Docs? Do I put in my email password?
What document? It's not showing.
No, it is.
Okay, so after we've done this, we should create an icon form. So after we've created our text box, we could create an icon for 14. But before we do that, in a scenario where you need to increase the size of this text, you just select the text box itself and you click on character.
I tried to select the text, but I don't know why mine is not.
Okay. So for you to select the text, you're going to use the selection tool which I mentioned earlier on, and this is the tool here. So if I want to select this one, I just come straight here. I click on my first tool, selection tool, and as you can see, the shortcut to access your selection tool is letter V. So a lot of times, sometimes you may be doing a lot of things and you don't have the time, luxury of time to travel that far with your hands. So you can just tap V on your keyboard and it brings up your selection tool. So once your selection tool is out, you can just select, click on your text box, and that box is selected. So when I want to manipulate the size, I go to character, and then I can temper with my size. Maybe I take it to size 18. Yeah, and it has expanded the size of this text for me. So if I want to manipulate even the spacing of my text, what I do, I always have to work with my character panel. And the way to bring out your character panel is to click on it here upon your menu. And the panel comes up. So similarly, if you want to change the fonts, maybe there's a specific font the Pearl brand uses. In that situation, you just, when you bring up your character panel, it gives you a provision to type in a new font. So here I can just click, say, Roboto. Please, what's the Pearl brand? What's the brand for? Calibre, okay. So let's change it to Calibre. I think you all have Calibre.
How much is the type Calibre? Still Roboto.
I don't think there's Calibre on my system.
I've not gotten a document recently.
Yeah,
This is the one email you gave me. That's the office email.
Okay, then something else to point out with this text box. Please, can we look at the text box on the screen?
Okay.
You observe that there are a number of handles at the edge. We have a handle here around the box. Now these handles are for increasing the width or the height of your text box, depending on the position you want it to be in your main infographic. So assuming this is our main infographic, and say we've already put this text here, but somehow we want, let me give, okay, this example now, this text. So say this text spread out. So say we have this text. With this text box here, I could expand the width or contract it. So these handles at the edges are for manipulating my text box, the width
This one?
or the height. These handles at the edge, like this.
This is what he's referring as dots.
Yeah,
This is a
So they are for manipulating the width or the height of the particular text box. Okay, so that's for the text box. So after we've done our text, the next item we have to highlight is 14. So I'm going to go back to my text tool. I click on text. This time I do not drag my text box on an empty area. Rather, I just click and I start typing. Okay. So you click, and if you want your text to be symmetric, if you don't want to expand it unevenly, as you drag your text box, you hold down your shift key. So I'm going to do this process again. I click on my text tool.
So we all should look at what he's doing so that you understand. Can we all look up? Can we all look up, please?
After the
He's
time,
starting again.
I just watch what he wants to do, please.
So I want to make the number 14 stand out because there are 14 MDAs. So to do that, I go to my text tool, I click on an empty area, then I start typing, and I've typed in 14. So after typing 14, 14 is quite small here, but I need to draw attention to it by increasing the size of it. So I come to my normal selection tool, click on my selection tool, then I hold one of the handles of the text box, press down my shift key, then I drag across the page. Drag across the page. Then still with my selection tool, I move it closer to the text I have. Have we been able to accomplish this?
Just accomplish it on the.
Okay, yes. So
So can we try?
let's try it out.
Yeah, we'll put it students. Yeah. Well, so don't be left behind.
We are the inclusive organization. We need to include all people.
Inclusive not please.
Okay, so just use Ctrl V. that's your text. So that's your text. So click on your selection tool. Then go to your fonts. Put Calibri. Type in Calibri here.
Install the driver.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sophia, how much?
That works.
It's okay.
No need to put on black ones.
Where's the price?
Okay. So still with the same knowledge of our text tool, I need us to create another smaller text under 14 and just put MDAs. The objective of this is this portion of the design needs to flow like a story. So if we just put 14 beside it, let's keep in mind that this is what the text reads. The text reads number of ministries, agencies mandated to prepare MTSS. So it's not going to flow, the story is not going to flow if we have that text here. So it's best to bring the MDAs underneath 14. So we have the story here saying 14 MDAs, and it continues with the text. We're mandated to prepare the MTSS documents.
Okay, let me step in here a bit and explain further. Remember when I talked about when you do your storyboarding and everything, you hand over to the graphics person, right? They make a few adjustments to it. So what he has done is that he's now adjusting the story I gave him, right? And if you look at the Google Docs, go to that Google Docs. So what I wrote in my story is that 14, number of ministries, departments, and agencies mandated to prepare MTSS document and to use same for preparation of this thing, right? So what he's doing in his design is that he's cutting down, no, go back. So he's cutting down this text. So he has eliminated this up to this point. Hello, can we all look up? So what he has done is that he's eliminating from here to this point, and he's now doing design context in it. Go back to your design. So this, what he has done is eliminate that line and turn it into 14 MDAs.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, how did
So-
you eliminate? I can't.
Okay,
So
so
it doesn't
Double click in there.
yeah, double click it in your text.
I like
I like the part you want to do and
Yeah.
delete it.
Also, are you double checking the front? No, it's still the same logic.
It's the same thing, not
Same
the
logic
logic
for yourself.
Microsoft Word. Right? So M is a text must under and type MDAs. So it goes in.
Okay, so drawing attention to 14, sometimes it might be sufficient, but there are times you might need a visual metaphor to help explain what this is. So in this case, what do you think we could use to represent MDAs, like ministries and departments or different government agencies? What icon would we use?
Greek temple.
Building. So you got many buildings.
What did you say?
Greek temple.
Greek temple.
Greek temple. Okay,
Yeah,
so
building, yeah.
So a lot of times we can draw the building from scratch, but due to time constraints,
You can't get the 14 on.
okay, so due to time constraints, so but due to time
You need to share what you have done.
You want to do editing? I was trying to
For
increase the font.
USSS?
I was trying to increase the font size of the text.
so sometimes if you make a mistake in your documents, you get just typical undo as you use in your
It's not working. That's
Control Z.
Control Z.
Control Z.
I did explain.
No, use Control
Control
Z.
Z.
Okay. How do I increase the size of this one?
The size of the font.
Text, yeah.
The text. So select it, Control A. Select it, then go to your size.
So I picked from here.
Okay, that's for stroke.
I picked from there.
Okay, you added a stroke.
Okay.
Yeah, so increase the size.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay, so instead of drawing the building, the faster or more efficient thing to do is we go online and research, because a lot of times there are people who have pre-designed some of these items or metaphors we want to use. So what we could do now, we go to Google and then we'll say government.
This is important. Look at what he's done. Government building, icon,
So-
PNG or vector, anyone.
So most times if you type in just government building, it brings you
Text.
raster images or text. So most times you have to specify icon, then put the format after it, say PNG, or if you want it in vector format.
What PNG is?
PNG is a format in which some of all these vector images are stored.
Or
Yes, and
like
lets you
your
manipulate-
JPEG, your PDF, your Excel.
So it lets you manipulate the item easily
Government.
in your Illustrator.
Okay. This one resembles our National Assembly.
Cool.
Which one? The dome?
The fifth one.
Okay. So for the purpose of this design, I won't pick a complex one. I'll just pick this.
That's
this
very
one.
cool. Yes.
This one. Okay. So
That's
what
the
you
first
do
one.
is that's the first one.
That's one.
So I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to click on it.
Click on the image on your system.
Now, most of the times you can copy it directly, but a lot of times you need to click on it so you get the larger version of it. So I'm just going to
From the original
write.
site.
Sorry?
From the original site.
Yes.
Cool. Taking time.
So this is the image opened on my screen. This image opened on my screen. So what I do at this point is I will right click it, then say copy image.
Okay.
So after copying my image,
Right click, copy image.
then right click copy image. I go to my Illustrator.
Take picture and from window.
Sorry?
Take picture and from window. Copy.
What he's doing.
Okay, cool. So if we've done that, we come back to our Illustrator environment. We click on our selection, direct selection tool. Right click on any empty area on your document, and then you say paste.
Best with right click.
You can use Ctrl V, you can right click and select paste. Yours is black. Okay, cool. An alternative way to do it, if you copy an image and it's not displaying correctly, what you could do is, instead of using copy image, you click on save image. To save it to a destination, save it to your desktop. Okay, so in my case, I've saved my image to my desktop. So what I will do is I'll go to my file.
Have you been able to paste?
It's
It's showing you a second way of bringing the image. You save it to your desktop.
Okay, so for those of us for which the thing did not appear correctly, the second method to do that is to save it somewhere on your desktop. Okay, maybe your desktop in your downloads folder. And now I've saved mine in my downloads folder. I'm just going to go to my file, and I'll come to place.
Hi guys.
Go to file within this.
Yeah, within your Illustrator.
Hello everyone. I'd like that you are doing what he's talking about. So my job is to make sure that you guys are following him. He's showing you how to import the image. It's important that you look up and see how to import the image, and then you can then go back and try. Are we clear? So when he's explaining something, let's all look up, look at it. He gives you a chance to then try it on your system. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Did you say yes or no? I'm
Okay,
dead.
so I click on place.
To your desktop.
Say place. We could do copy and paste. I don't like you people's Mac. You saw it now.
Don't worry, we're going to show you the new MacBook and you should convert it.
You will do it.
Your iCloud storage.
Yeah.
pasted.
Well, you could do
You
copy,
can.
you could do copy and
Hold on.
paste.
You can also copy and paste, yes.
No, I use the same
No, you
system.
saw-
I use the same system you use.
The first time.
No, this one.
This second one now.
This second one.
So once your icon has been located,
I found the icon and double click it, brought it to the screen, so I moved it to where I wanted it. Exactly.
so for those of you who are still here, you just select the icon you want and click on it. So put it by the side. So I need to point out something at this stage. So those are two methods to bring out place an icon in your document. Now, a lot of times when you are placing items, you may need to align them properly. And one of the commands that helps you do that is your grid lines. And to bring your grid lines, you first have to bring out your ruler. And the way to do that is you press a combination of Control or Command, if you're using a Mac, Control arrow. So if I do this, Control arrow, you're going to see a ruler appear on the upper part of my screen. Okay? So use Control arrow, bring out your ruler.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen it? Have you guys got out your ruler? Cool. So once your ruler is out, you click on the ruler, hold your mouse down, and you drag. Now as I drag down, do you see a line following my hand?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a grid line, and I drop it on top of the text. So these grid lines, they typically will not print when
Not
you
show
are,
your final
they won't show your final document. They only just help to guide you, so you are able to align everything properly. So I click, I create another grid line or another guideline.
But it doesn't move. It doesn't move the text.
The woman with the text.
No, it won't.
The rulers, yeah.
It's just to help you know that they are all on the same line.
You know, you can, what you do at the top, you can also,
Just click on that.
what you do at the top, you can also do on the side.
Just drag it down. Just click right. Click and hold it down.
So what the ruler does is that it helps you make sure that everything is on the same line.
So in my case, I've created two guidelines, one above, one underneath. So this way, I know that I have to align this icon up to the point where that guideline is presented. Okay, so a lot of times you may not want your document in black and white. For example, this text, you may want to give it a certain color. And if you look at the icon we've created, please can we look at the screen?
Hello.
If you want to change this color to say a green or a red or to a different color, you'll discover that because it's an image you've imported, you can't do that. So a lot of times you need to trace out this image, trace it out, then separate the individual items so you can work on them. It's a very simple process. So I select my item, this. So once the image is selected, okay, so this is my image, then I go to image trace. So there are a lot of options you have in your image trace, but two of them you need to be familiar with, which you will find very helpful, the sketched art and the silhouette. So both of them help you get the precise art that was sketched in that drawing. So if I select sketched art,
Okay, image trace. Okay.
so I select sketched art, then I do this, I click on expand, meaning that I'm expanding the several components of this artwork. So I expand it. After expansion, I ungroup the different components. Now I can manipulate each part separately. I can add color. So I can make this purple.
Oh shit, I did something. Oh shit.
Okay, so for those of you whom your swatch panel is not open, a lot of times if you want to change the color of an item in Illustrator, you use your swatch panel. And to get your swatch panel, you go to Windows, you click on Windows, then you're going to see a list of the different tool panels we have. All you need to do is to scroll down and then you bring out swatches. So once the panel is out, you will see a tick mark beside it. So this is my swatch panel, it's out already. So I have my colors here. These are different colors in my palette.
So,
I know that we have very limited time, and then we're only learning how to do it. But one of the things you also need to be conscious of is how you select your colors. So we don't put a rainbow or what. Too many colors can distract.
My rainbow was wonderful.
I didn't see your son, I was saying this.
I didn't know what this is. I don't know how I put that on.
So we can change that color.
Can you help me take it off?
So what I'm saying is that sometimes from beginning of your document you need to be conscious of what colors you want to use. So in a lot of instances, if I give somebody work in the office, I say please stick to 2 colors, at most 3 colors, right? So because it's 250-page document doesn't mean that in one page you use yellow, in the next you use green, you move to a different shade of orange, and any color that just randomly comes to mind, you need to keep it even for good presentation.
Okay, so I have my 70 out. Now we could do what we did initially where we created the text box and we put in our text. But a quicker way to do that is to copy and paste what we already have. So this is my text box. Instead of creating a new one, I select it, I hold my Alt key. So I click on my text box here, hold my Alt key, then I drag it to a new position. So now I have duplicated this text box without having to go back to the text. So the process once again is I select my text box, hold down my Alt key, then I drag it down.
that's for
PNG.
Vector.
Okay, so since we've done the portion of making the 70% prominent, the next thing to do is to bring out a metaphor that could describe capital project. So people will have different interpretations. In my own case, I could use a road. You could use maybe a crane. You could use a house. These are all different capital projects.
Okay.
So in my case, I'm going to go to my Google and I'm going to just type in crane icon.
Right.
Crane shows construction work.
Yeah, construction work going on. Okay, so I select this first icon I find here.
I need to manipulate this icon.
Oh, yeah, come.
Okay, I need to control. I want to select the text.
Learning.
I haven't opened that document, so just type.
Is this one serious?
But it's
The thing is,
which one?
okay, that one. Darn it. This is on video.
So just in case you didn't follow the first time when I split the image into different bits so I could change the color, this is the process once again. I go to Google, I copy my image, then I come here with Ctrl+V, I paste it in my document. Now after pasting this thing, like I said previously, you can't manipulate the individual colors, you have to trace the image. So I select this, I go to Image Trace. And I mentioned earlier that 2 very good options you will find in your image trace are your sketched art and your silhouettes. So in this case, I'm going to try, let me try the sketched art. So in some cases, if the sketched art or the silhouette doesn't give you the exact thing you want, like in this case, I'm not liking the output, so I could use a different command. So in my case here, I'm choosing low fidelity photo. So once I do this, provided I've applied that command, I can right click on my item and then I ungroup it. Click on expand. So now I can still change the individual colors as I want. Okay, so one other thing I should mention here, I have my crane facing this direction. There may be scenarios where you don't want it to face the left. You say you want it to face this other direction. What you do, you have to reflect it, make it a mirror image of what it currently is. And to accomplish that, you select your image. So let me group this. So you select your image, right click, then you go to transform. Now under transformation, you use your reflect command. Now this is my reflect command. I have two options, horizontal reflect or vertical reflect. This time around, I want to reflect it around the vertical axis. So I'm going to choose my vertical reflect, then I'll say OK. So it has reflected, it has mirrored it to the other direction. So once you're working with images and you want to change the direction, the process once again is you select the item, right click, you go to transform, then you click on reflect. Then use vertical transform, then you say OK. Are we done with the 70% one? Cool. So the next item we have is time consuming. Now in this case, we're going to use the image of a clock. We're going to use the image of a clock, then just place the text time consuming underneath it. Then the main text will be to the right. So this is it. I go to Google and I say, so I type in this search word and it brings up different options. So I'm going to select this icon. So type in clock icon PNG. Type that in Google. So select any of the images that comes up. In this case, I'm thinking this one would be a good match. So I copy it.
Which one?
This one here. Okay, so would you prefer this?
No, that one with dark background.
This one?
Yeah. Because this is a democracy.
Okay, so I copied this. So I expand it first.
Right. Excuse me, sorry.
Okay, so quickly, something just happened on my screen and I would like to point it out. Now, in this case, I pasted my entire document. I pasted the image and it's occupied the entire screen. You may be faced with scenarios like this where you paste an image that is larger than your screen. You will have to zoom into your document, make it smaller. So and there are two ways to do that. If you want to make a document smaller, you press a combination of your command key or control and your minus. So if I do this, what? Your minus key. So if I do that, it makes it smaller. Then if I use control and my plus key, it keeps expanding it. So this gives me a better view of my document. So
Maybe we'll read the what they call the how to manual.
There is a how-to manual in Illustrator. What did you call it? Arc2? No. We don't have an arc.
Arc 2.
Do we have an arc logo? No, we don't have an arc logo. Damn it.
Nobody would want to see Arc.
Arc Academy, I'm just saying. It's different though. You see them going.
But they
Management board is there. Management board meeting is there at 8.
wow.
You won't see them.
Do they have separate text box? Because it's smaller? Yeah.
Dr. Gabriel's got all the details.
On what?
Project prioritization, full list of the 6 prioritization criteria, and Professor Jack.
Okay, it's got time now from.
The model has therefore been revised to reflect the 6 criteria.
So has the workshop started? Asking me to the workshop is before.
Pick the other one.
No, I don't think it's too soft. Send it.
That's fine.
I know what I will do, but I have no time to do it.
Yeah. I don't want to work on sending out emails and all this stuff.
I think that the technical update is done. Shouldn't do anything from the technical update on the end to do graphic. But it's not just graphic, it's something that needs to be
What is that?
He's just a teacher.
What are the rules say? How many things to a story on one page?
It's, for me, if you are the better, it's
So, for example, the state of the states.
Can we just go through the rules and gotten the name?
I guess different.
Different
Way to require us to use different things.
No, I don't have it on.
So then I would do the same for the hubs, for example.
Sure. I remember asking us for.
I'll get you this kind of like women in government, huh? This women in government. We could do something like Haji like in a kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
We are
Is it Haji
going to
or-
be highlighting art women and how we're supporting them as government. Art women.
Did I hold in commissionership or what?
Yeah, starting with that and how we're supporting them with tools, and then the profiling later maybe a year from now, what they've achieved. You like it?
So we put it in what now? As some
Kano commissioner.
interesting product or what?
No, supporting them, but so we're laying it out, but instead of writing an approach paper,
Oh,
we
okay.
put in the figures about women in government and women in IGR. We're doing a series on that. Austin. Women in IGR, women in ease of doing business. Keep that in mind.
You guys, okay.
Keep that in mind. Now, Zainab is important. She's a female. We might let her.
Women in Northeast.
Huh?
Zainab will fall under women in Northeast.
Women in Northeast? I don't know what that would look like. Pregnant children, I guess.
I'm still trying to copy this.
I want to create a pie chart to represent this the first thing I will need to do is to get my pie graph tool. And to do that, I come to this tool underneath here. Sometimes your pie graph tool is already out, and at other times, maybe a different graphing tool is displayed. So to bring out the pie graph tool, you click and hold the tool down, and it brings you different graphing tools. Because you may want to create a line graph, an area graph, but in our case, we want to create a pie graph. So we click on the pie graph tool, then we drag across the area which we want our pie chart to occupy. In this case, I want it to occupy this area. Okay? So when I do that, it brings up a box, something like a spreadsheet, for me to impute my values. So in my first box, I type in 64.3. 64.3. Then I press my tab. Once I press my tab, that figure is entered into that particular cell. Now the next cell, I type in 35.7, and then I press my tab. That figure is entered into that cell. So once I want to apply this, what I really need to do is to click on the tick mark here. This tick mark, and then I say apply. Okay, so the pie chart.
So you can put as many.
Yeah, you can put as many divisions. Maybe if in a case where, say, I have, maybe let me make this 20 and 15.7. Then I apply it. So it has different portions. Okay, so this.
And then you need to click on this so you can show our people, because
Sorry?
if you click on this tool, there you go, you can import data from your stuff. That might be more interesting for them. Because we have a lot of data.
Okay, so it will be more efficient. Instead of typing, you can just import it.
So let me see.
That's just this first icon here.
But what if I want the percentage to show on the chart? Like I want 64% to show on the dark, on the black side, and then I want 33 to show.
Put it now.
No, I don't get it.
You want the values to show.
But you want, no, I think you have to type the value.
Yeah, you type it in the same way you type it in the symbol.
Or you can import pie charts from Excel and do that.
Excel, most likely should be a spreadsheet you will import.
So this gives a better resolution.
Especially if you're doing the bar chart, you don't type it all manually.
So one of the things you need to know when you're
Two of
importing.
them have to do proportional pie charts. But putting in the second row of data.
Oh, okay.
Proportional pie charts.
Can you show me an example of what it looks like?
So you just put in another row of data below.
Yeah,
And that
there.
will give two pie charts that the size is relative to the. Don't make it add up to 100 though.
Yeah.
Make it add up to something else.
I should make those 100.
Make
No.
it to 200.
Wow, that's cool. Different two kind of.
Well, one of the things you need to know when you're importing data, you know how you have an Excel document and you have different sheets up in it. If you import that data, the most likely one to pop up is the first page of that display. So maybe if it's your 15th sheet you want to import, you need to pull out that and save it as a different listing and then import that one. But if you import an Excel that has like 10 sheets, once it comes in, it's only the front page that will, the first one that will come, the other ones will show, right?
Okay. So a lot of times, did we get this pie graph too?
Yeah, we're okay.
One question: how do you change the color of the part of the pricing?
So to change the colors, you have to work with the direct selection tool. At the beginning of the course, I mentioned that we have two selection tools: the normal selection tool and direct selection tool. So this is your normal selection tool, then this is your direct selection tool. So say I want to change this portion of my graph, I click on my direct selection tool, then I select that portion alone. I come to my color, then maybe I make it red. Or let me
Use yellow because of the
yeah.
screen.
Okay, cool. So I've selected that portion and made it yellow. So similarly, this portion I have as black. If I want to give it a different color, I just use my direct selection tool, click on that portion, and apply the color I want. Let's make it brown. Okay, so this is the process for changing the colors of your pie chart. So a lot of times you may have or you may want to create a design where you don't want this full pie chart showing. Maybe you just want a small area, something like this. So there are pie charts in which, say, the middle is just empty. So what I did here was, all I just did was to create another circle. So I type my L, create another circle, and position it above this particular pie chart. Okay, so it gives the impression that the middle is hollow. So there are cases I may want to write something in the middle. Okay, so that's how you accomplish it. So once you're done with it, you use your normal process, select it, then you put everything together. Okay, so bar charts are pretty straightforward to create. It's the same process. But to give yourself more flexibility, it's always best to use rectangles to create bar charts. Here is an example of the kind of flexibility you can have when you use rectangles. Now see, this is a bar chart showing the type of accommodations people live in, but it's created with something like houses on it. So if you use the typical bar chart graphing tool, you may not have this degree of flexibility. So a bar chart is composed of several rectangles. So in this case, what we did, or what I did here was, I drew one rectangle, drew another one, reduced the height, drew a third one, reduced the height of that one. Okay, then I got the icons for the different houses, then place them on each bar. So if you want to create a bar chart, the tool to use is straight up your rectangle tool, which is this. You can come here and draw several bars.
But if you use grid lines, you can see how wide they are.
Yeah, with your grid lines, you can now position them properly. And a lot of times, once you've created one rectangle, you really don't have to stress to go to your rectangle tool again. Or you just hold your Alt key, click, and drag it. Click and drag it. So you'll be certain that all the bars are of the same width. So it's not really up to you to maybe temper with the height and a lot of other things. So that's my best, or that's a recommended approach for creating bar charts, because it gives you better flexibility. Okay. So do we have any more questions?
Now let's try the background.
The background.
Yeah.
Okay.
And arrange what we've done.
Well, the arrangement is basically just you have to group each item. Select. Okay. Let me do it for this first one. So this, I've selected it. I use my Ctrl G. I've grouped it as a separate item. This next one, I select it. Ctrl G. I group it as a separate item. Then I can move this one. I can move this one beside it. Okay. So the next item we had in our story was this. So let me just make this one occupy the entire screen. Okay. So the next one was this.
This was like ours.
Sorry?
No.
Okay, cool. So in terms of arrangement, it's still the same process of selecting all the items, Ctrl G, you group it, and you put it in the most appropriate position. So let me quickly just run over 3 other things before the session runs off. So that is color, stroke, field, and background. They are pretty straightforward things. For color, let's take a look at this item on my screen.
Select two first.
Okay.
Select two.
So what I have on my screen is a black rectangle. Now, if you observe, there was something you did on your own screen where you chose the stroke and you gave the stroke a certain value and everything became black. Now, the stroke of an item or of an object is the border around it. So there are scenarios in which, say I have this rectangle, but I need to make the border a different color, because for maybe certain reasons, I will have to adjust the stroke. So in this case, I'll go to the stroke of this particular object. After selecting it, I go to stroke. Maybe give it a weight of 20 points.
Where do you pick stroke?
You can add anything.
No, I just select it.
Okay.
Once you select it, you go up here. So this is your stroke command. You get. Then you can click on this arrow pointing downwards. Then increase the thickness of your stroke. Increase the thickness of your stroke. Now you're going to see two things. Let me bring this up. Okay. Can we see two rectangles here?
Yeah.
So this rectangle here is completely filled, while this one is hollow. Now when a rectangle is filled, what it means is that once you go to your swatch panel, any color you temper with actually affects the fill color. So but once I come down here and select the stroke, which is this hollow rectangle, any color I change on my swatch panel actually affects the stroke. So here, in this case, I have the fill selected because it's in front. If I go to my swatch panel and I make it red, and let's make it yellow so it's visible, you get, it becomes yellow. You get, and that's because it's the fill that is in front. So if I come around now and I make the stroke, or I bring the stroke to the front, can we see the stroke rectangle is now in front? Any color I adjust on my swatch panel affects the outline. Okay, so there may be scenarios in which you want to play with that technique. Okay, so that's the way to go about it. So that's your stroke and your fill. Okay, so lastly, we mentioned the background colors. So basically, if you want to create background colors, it's pretty straightforward. So I have this document. Say I want to make it light blue. I click on my rectangle tool. I draw the rectangle above my document. Okay? Draw the rectangle above my document. You observe that it has covered all the items. You can tell me what I can do to make this the background.
Select send to back.
Sorry?
Select send to back.
Excellent. Because all I really need to do is to select it and send it to back. Because it goes to the back of my other elements. So there are scenarios in which, sorry, yes. So there are scenarios in which the background is too thick. Maybe you want to lighten it. You don't want this thick shade of the gray. What you do in that scenario, you come to your color palette here. You use your color guide. Now, color guide gives you lighter shades of a particular color or thicker shades of that color. Okay, so I can come here and tint this particular color. And tint this color, so I make it lighter. So if you don't like how light it is, another option you have is your opacity. I will come to my transparency panel and make the opacity of this maybe 30%. So it's still obvious that there's a little bit of color at the background, but I've lightened it with my opacity too. Okay, so let me go over the process once again. You draw a rectangle. Draw a rectangle. It occupies your entire screen. Then you go to your object, arrange, and then you send it to back. So it goes behind all the items you created previously. So in cases where the background color you've selected is too thick for your liking, you could go to opacity and you reduce the opacity, or in some cases or in some versions we call it transparency. They both mean the same thing. Go to your transparency and you reduce it to say maybe 30%. Yes, reduce it to say 30%. So but if we observe, if I zoom into this, you observe there's still an outline around my rectangle. There's still an outline. In this case, it's not desirable. I don't want a red outline because I just want a normal background. What I do is I come back to my swatches panel, and you're going to see this first item, the first icon here with a red stroke across it that says none. So provided my stroke icon here is selected, once I click on this none, it takes off that stroke effect around the rectangle.
What about the pictures? Present your picture as a
Sorry?
background.
Okay, well that has to do with importing a live picture itself and positioning it. Let's see.
Or you create a pattern background.
Sorry?
A pattern background. A background.
Well, there are different processes for
So I'm
creating.
trying to use my
There are different processes for creating a pattern background. Which one do I do first? Do I do the picture one or the pattern background?
Anyone.
Okay, cool.
picture.
Picture. Okay, so there are cases you're working with, or you're working in, and you're creating a multi-page document. But in this case, we just have only one document open here. What if you're creating a 3 or 4 page document? Because in those cases, you will need to create a new artboard. This environment in which you're working is called an artboard. Okay, so now I want to create a separate document or a separate page in our document with a link. Okay, separate page in our document with a link. So what I do in that situation is I can come and bring out my artboard tool. This is one way to do it. Or I just press a combination. The faster method is just use Shift O. Once you press Shift O, can you see border boxes? You get around your artboard. You get so that once that comes out, or you know your artboard tool is selected, then you can come to your new artboard icon. So this is your new artboard. I click on it, you get, and I place it beside this. Okay. So if I want to create a third artboard, the process is the same. I use my Shift O. Shift O brings out your artboard tool. Shift O. Then I click on the tool, new artboard, and then I position it beside. Okay. There also may be cases where you need to delete some pages. In this case, it's artboards. Now, if you bring out your tool with Shift O, you're going to see an X icon here. So if I click on this, that artboard disappears. Okay, so let's create 2 additional artboards in our document so we demonstrate how to use that particular tool.
Shift O.
Okay, why are we doing that?
Sorry?
Why are we getting a new artboard?
In a case where you have you know, we are creating just a single page document. So take for example, this document is 35 pages. So we're actually going to have 35 artboards in that particular document.
I understand, okay. So we have the new artboard.
So to the question someone asked, how do we create a pattern background? So the tool with which you create a pattern background in Illustrator is your symbols. So it's not just a pattern background. Any form of complex design you want, you can actually accomplish that with symbols. Now the process is you go to your window, you bring out symbols. So I come here and I click on symbol. Now it has certain default symbols for me. Like I have this paint splash here already. So I can click on this paint splash and drag it to the middle. So I have this my paint splash in the middle. But right now this is just a symbol. I need to break the link between this symbol and the original document. So what I do is while it's selected, I come here and I click on break link. If I don't break the link, I can't change the color, I can't manipulate it. So now I've broken the link by using my break link command. I can now come here individually and maybe change this color. So I've changed this particular color. But a lot of times it's really not desirable to have busy backgrounds. If you look at most of the infographics we design, many of them just have clean backgrounds. It helps for readability. Because visually, when you have a lot of busy items in the background, you get the human eye is strained to those items. So, but this is the process. I can select this, and with my opacity, I make it maybe 10% or maybe 20%. Okay, so this will just remain in the background. I can make it lighter than that. Now, this symbol might not fit what I need. There may be cases where I want some dots just scattered around the page. So what I will do in that scenario is to go into the library, you get, and I'm going to see more symbols. I have 3D symbols, I have arrow symbols, I have dot pattern vectors. So in this case, if I want to create maybe dots scattered around my background, I come here, I click on dot pattern vectors. You get, it's going to give me different types of dot patterns. Look at the screen, I have circular dot patterns, I have normal rectangular dot patterns. So in this case, if I click on the rectangular dot patterns, I click on it, I drag it out. I click on it and I drag it out. So you observe that it has created some dot patterns for me across the entire page. Okay, so these are some dot patterns. But like I said previously, you still need to break the link to the original symbol. And to accomplish that, you select the symbol you've brought out. Select the symbol you've brought out, then click on break link. So this break link to symbol, it enables you to edit just this particular instance of the symbol without tampering with the original copy. Okay, so once I break the link to this, I just ungroup. Okay, then I can come and make it say orange. Then I reduce my opacity to say 10%. Yes. So I have this effect on my background here. Okay, so it really depends on what you need, but the tool to use is your symbol. And once you don't see the right symbol displayed, you go straight to the library. Okay, and there are scenarios where you're working, and even the items in the library are not sufficient for you. Okay, there are symbols. You have symbols for sale online. Okay, so you can Google for the right symbols you want and just pay for the collection, then install it on your system. Okay, so the last question someone asked was about picture backgrounds here. Did every other person get the symbol portion? Should I go over it again?
Should we go over the symbol portion again?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
If you say yes, we'll go over it.
Okay, cool. So for symbols, I'm going over symbols once again. Now the first, a lot of times your symbols panel is not displayed. So to bring it out, you go to your window, then you look for your symbol command. So once I click on it, I'm going to have a tick mark beside it. So this is my symbols command. Now a lot of times you observe that we just have about seven symbols displayed there. But these symbols may not suit your own need. If I'm designing a certificate and I need maybe borders around my certificate, this symbol might be appropriate for me. Okay, so depending on what you're doing, you will have to look for the right symbol. And if you don't find it displayed there, you have to go to the symbol library. And to get there, you click on this link beneath by the left, symbol library menu. So click on the link. Click on it. Have you clicked on it? So you're going to see a menu or a collection of different symbols. You have arrows, you have celebration symbols, you have artistic symbols, you have dot pattern symbols. In our case, we wanted to put a dot pattern on the background of our document. So what we did was to select this dot pattern vector pack. So I've selected it. Sorry? You can use any other one you want. You can use any one. So for the demonstration, I'm just using a dot pattern. Okay, so this is my dot pattern vector. And these are the different options I have for the dot pattern. So I'm going to just drag out, say this circular dot pattern, and drag it to the middle. You're going to, while you drag, can you see a plus icon indicating you're adding it to your documents? Okay, so I release my hand and I have this dot pattern scattered across the document. But like I said initially, this particular symbol is still linked to the original library, so you have to break the link to that symbol. So any edit you make only affects this particular instance of the symbol. So I select it, click on your selection. So I select it, then I click on break link. So break the link to the main